Hi, I'm JJ, and you're listening to Microphone Munchies. Food for thought, they'll get you hungry for more. So, happy Thursday, everyone. It's snowing again here in Toronto. I think it's snowing in a lot of places around the world. Around the world. I'm not sure if around the world, but if it is snowing where you are, I do hope you're safe, and I do hope that as much as possible you can stay warm. And I just realized that probably when you're listening to this, it's really easy to tell when it's winter and when it's summer because I do feel like in general my themes are usually a little more mellow, a little more chill, a little more I wouldn't say sad necessarily, but definitely a little more introspective in the winter. Whereas in summer, it's all about, let's go, let's do this, let's do that. So that's pretty, just a weird observation. Anyway, today I want to talk about a few things. So here they are. Three things in particular. I want to talk a little bit about dance as therapy. I want to talk about that healing power of dance, which is something that I actually don't really think about that much, which is kind of strange because if any of you ever watch my Instagram, I'm always dancing, and it's a weird one, but I want to talk about that. And specifically, I want to thank a lot of people in my life who I'm not going to mention them by name just because I haven't asked them in advance, but I hope they know who they are. I'll say that more later. The next one is actually about Zoom. So a lot of us have been on, like Zoom or video calls and stuff. If you're using Microsoft Teams, then bleh. But Zoom and video conferencing, and it's tough. I mean, now almost, at least for me, I've almost been teaching exclusively on Zoom for a whole year, and it could go on in the future and stuff, and it's really tough because sometimes you get really tired from looking at your screens all day, from looking at the monitor all day. So I want to talk a little bit about Zoom burnout or Zoom fatigue, and also, in my opinion, one of the best ways that I've found to fight it, to reclaim some of that realness in your life, if that makes any sense. And the last one is I want to talk about sleep because it is something that I've been having a little bit of trouble not sleeping per se. Like I'm very grateful I don't have insomnia at the moment. It's just, I don't know why, but it's almost like I sabotage myself by not sleeping, early, or by sleeping late, even when I don't need to sleep late. So I'll talk a little bit about that too. So I hope that something in this episode helps you. I hope that at the very least, maybe you feel like you want to dance, or maybe you feel like there is an alternative to just looking at different screens all day long, and maybe you'll get some sleep. So without further ado, here we go. I got my peppermint tea here, and yeah, let's go. The first thing is dance as therapy. So dance is one of those things where looking back at it, I really started dancing. And for those of you who dance, or for those of you who've thought of dancing, well, maybe you can relate to this story. I really started dancing because I wanted to express myself. I wanted to, as a kid, I was always very active. I was always jumping all over the place. I could never sit down. I could never sit still. I have no idea if I've, any sort of, I don't know if they're called learning, it's not really, it's focus, I guess. I don't know if I have like ADD or ADHD. I was never diagnosed. All I know is that growing up, especially in class, I could never sit still. I was always jumping around and running around and stuff. And dance for me was a way to express the feelings I had, but I couldn't say it. I didn't know the words to say. Like even now, if you're watching the video version of this podcast, I'm probably making some actions or whatever. Like when you have it in your brain and you don't know how to get it out. That's what dance was for me. It was a way to express through my body what I couldn't express through my words. And it's weird, but I mean, this might happen to you too. When you don't feel very good, and I haven't felt very good like on and off. Sometimes I feel great. Like usually, funny enough, it's usually the days when I'm dancing, like any of those dance video days. Right after I make one of those videos, I feel amazing because it's like exercise. Have a lot of endorphins, some dopamine, some serotonin, and I'm really happy. I'm really happy usually in those videos, mainly because, and this is going to sound really funny. Not funny, but this is going to sound kind of, the reason why I'm happy about these videos is actually because I want to share music with other people. I just want to I just want to make someone smile, or my goal is if someone adds a song onto their playlist, I'm happy. And that's kind of weird, but it's kind of like, you know that feeling you get when you're in a car with someone. And now it's easier because we can just Bluetooth. But back in the day, it's all about the aux, right? The AUX wire. In fact, it was so bad. At one point, I used to carry I actually carried two AUX wires, aux wires with me. I had my iPod. Back then, I had my iPod Classic, 80 gigabytes, or I don't know what it was called, iPod, whatever. iPod, 80 gigabytes, black iPods, beautiful, beautiful stuff. What I would do is, you get the AUX, you plug it in, and then you show your songs, right? And if your songs were hot, you're cool. For some reason, when I'm looking at Instagram, that's actually what I'm trying to do. So every time I make one of those videos, I'm doing two things. I'm challenging myself to tell a story, either of the song, of the emotions, and I just want to share some music with people, especially maybe songs that not everybody knows, or songs that move me in some way, and I just want to share that specific energy. So yeah, I really love Instagram Reels for that because you only have 30 seconds maximum. So there's this feeling that I need to condense my message into something 30 seconds, but at the same time also take my time with it. And it's nice because honestly, most of the time, I don't feel like I'm a good dancer. I mean, it's never good enough. And I ate too much. I ate a General Tao's chicken pizza for dinner. It was delicious. Shout out to Martino's Asian fusion restaurant here in Toronto. They are really good, by the way. It actually tastes good. Okay, it's really, really delicious, and they're such nice people. So if you are in Toronto, please go support them. They didn't pay me to say any of this. I'm just really happy. I ate something really delicious. Martino's Asian fusion pizza restaurant or something like that near DuPont and near Casa Loma. If you're in Toronto, you know what I mean. It's near DuPont and Davenport. Davenport and DuPont, they overlap, and it's near DuPont and Davenport. And love their food. Their pizza is great. The margaritas are great, and I really love their Asian food as well. It's just really comforting. Anyway, that sounds like an ad. But going back to what I was saying, it's in my mind anyway, it's never good enough. Actually, everything that I do, I don't know if you are like this as a creative, but 99% of the time, when I make something, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a video, whether it's teaching a class, whether it's a dance, whether it's writing something, the moment I finish making it, the moment I hit publish or send or whatever, it's gone. I forget about it, and I'm just worried about the next one. And it's like, looking back, sometimes I'm so surprised. I'm like, what? I did that? But most of the time, it's just so embarrassing. It's so cringy to look at what you did in the past. And they always say that if that's a good thing because it means you're growing. But I don't know, because it just feels so ugh. So yeah, like I rarely, I'm scared to listen to my previous podcast. I don't know. It's just, I just like to make things. That's it. And I'm pretty sure that if you like to make things, if you have any sort of hobby, you're probably something similar. So what I would say to that is, please keep making it. You have no idea what will stick. This is something that I'm learning now, which is that sometimes I'll be just like, I'll be sitting where will I be sitting? Where will I be? I'll be sitting. I'll be sitting like on the toilet, right? And then I'll get a message from somebody I know or somebody I don't know. And maybe they'll say, wow, I listened to your podcast episode. And I look at it and I'm like, wait, I did this podcast episode like months ago. And they will say, wow, it was so relevant. And I'm like, huh? Really? And it's like that. Life is like that. So keep making things. It's this concept I remember reading somewhere where it's like every time you make something and you share it with people, you're spinning the wheel. And the more times you make things, the more times you get to spin the wheel. You never really know what sticks. Like sometimes things can go viral or sometimes things can get very popular, not because they're objectively better, but because the right person sees it at the right time. And so, yeah, for those of you who create things, you probably know what I'm talking about. Usually people like the work that you have. That's not always the one that you like the most. You ever have that feeling where it's like you make something and you're so proud of it and then you release it to the world and nobody cares. But when you make something, it's like, all right, I just got to make something because I don't care. I got to make it. Boop. Then all of a sudden everyone's like, wow, this is so good. And you're like, huh, really? That's life. So I encourage all of you, if you are making anything, if you're doing anything creative, whether that's cooking, whether that's painting, whether that's art, music, dance, writing, anything really, anything that makes you happy, keep doing it. You never know what will help others. And it can really, I don't know, it can make a difference. Because, for example, and I'm going to go into the dance therapy thing now. Gosh, this was a lot longer than I thought. I'm going to go in the dance therapy thing now. A big reason why I started dancing again, at least on Instagram, but also in my personal life. For a while, I did not want to dance. I mean, you know, with the winter, every day is so dark and I'm teaching on Zoom and everything's on Zoom and I live alone. And it's just, you know, it's not, you just don't feel dancey. I said it. You just don't feel, I just don't feel dancey. Like I'll listen to a song and I'll be like, I miss the good old days, rather than yeah. So it was weird. And actually for a very long time, for a few months, I stopped listening to music because it just got me so depressed. Because instead of hearing the music, I would think about the past. I wasn't living in the present. I was just sad about the past. So one of the big reasons why I started dancing was I saw all this content on Instagram, and some of it personally is okay. I mean, it's cool. Like I'm not too big of a fan of TikTok myself personally. I mean, I think it's really cool. I think it's really cool that people are doing all these things. The reason why I don't like TikTok as much anyway with dance, especially with dance, is that TikTok for me, this is a personal opinion and I might get crucified for saying this. TikTok for me is very you don't need to engage with it so much. Like there's no, for example, and this is, maybe I'm weird like this, my favorite thing about Instagram is not actually the video, I actually like reading the captions. I love reading the captions and understanding the context and the history behind the post. So it's the visuals get me interested, whether it's dance or food or culture or travel or whatever. But the captions are actually why I like Instagram. I actually use Instagram as a reading platform, not as a visual platform. And TikTok, I feel, at least when I was using it, it's just so easy to just see something cool and, oh, it's blowing up, so I'm going to copy it. And I don't really care about this thing. I don't care about the culture. Let's say with dance, I don't care about the culture, the style. I don't care about the history. I just want to look cool so that hopefully I can go viral too. And don't get me wrong, I also feel this way sometimes about like when I see Instagram challenges, I'm like, oh man, maybe I can go viral too. Obviously, I'm human as well. You know, nobody is completely oblivious to the fact that certain things will catch on. And that's cool. That's fine. I have nothing against that. I really want actually more people, especially dancers. I want dancers to win. Okay, that would be amazing, because if dancers win, then that means more musicians will produce more music that gets people dancing, which means dancers will be able to teach more, which means there will be more dance venues and dance places, more parties, and then I will dance. You see, it's selfish. It's all about me. But that's just it's a joke. Obviously, I want the whole world to dance. That would be a great world where we can dance more instead of fight all the time. But well, that's yeah. So the dance therapy thing, a lot of it actually came because I saw one of my friends. He currently lives in Ottawa, and it just, one thing that really inspired me was he came to Toronto a while ago before we went back into lockdown, and he came for a weekend, and the main reason why was just to dance with us. And it was crazy because here's me at home. I can dance whenever I want. And, to travel somewhere just to dance with people. And then I realized it's like you never know what you have until you see it. Either you lose it or you see it from someone else's eyes, someone else's perspective, right? Like, for example, right now I'm here and I have stable internet. And my friend, I was talking to one of my friends just now in Mexico, and her internet, it's not stable. And this is such a normal thing for me, but it's so frustrating. I remember what it was like back when I lived in China, when every day the internet would break and I had to go to the router and beep, beep, and I had to unplug and plug it and then pray. It sucks. And I take that for granted. So when I saw him and the post that he does on Instagram as well, he always talks about dance is therapy. And when I see him dance, I can feel it. I can feel that he is using dance as a way to combat, maybe it's loneliness, maybe it's this feeling of, most of his friends are still in Toronto. I'm not sure. But when I see those videos, I'm like, I feel a little less alone because I see someone who gets it. I see someone who, that energy, and it's not like he's just copying TikTok dances. He's expressing himself oftentimes through freestyle. And I think back to some of what my teachers say, freestyle, that's what freestyle is, right? It's not just about who looks the most professional, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's not about the choreography necessarily. It's all about the energy, the vibes, right? I mean, if you really think about it with dance, oftentimes all these moves that we do, maybe somebody at one point did it freestyle and it was so cool that everyone started copying it. And now we learn the move, but we lose the flavor. We lose the reason why the move was invented in the first place. Maybe it was a move about celebration. Maybe it was to make fun of something. And that, at least for me personally, is really what dance is about. It's storytelling through your body. It's physical storytelling. And I always say this, personally, I dance to also get closer to God, whatever that means for you, whatever that means for me. Dance for me is a spiritual thing as well, and an energy thing. And I always feel like when you're lost in the music, you feel connected. You feel connected to the world. And I've lost that connection for quite a while. And it's funny, even now as I'm talking about this on this podcast, I'm getting the energy again from the dance. I'm getting it from the music. I can feel it in my body, and it's amazing. And yeah, dance really is therapy. I hope that you get a chance to turn on some music and just bop, just vibe to it. You know what I mean? Like it's really, especially at home, it's amazing. I can't move right now because I ate so much, but I really encourage you, dance. And when you dance, this is something that happened to me, which is, especially since I started dancing in like studios and stuff, you see all these mirrors all the time and you think dance is about you. It's about the moves and what it looks like, but it's not. And so that's something that I really encourage, which is just, I encourage this. If you're a dancer and you're listening to this podcast, Next time you dance to a song, I encourage you to try to think of a story. Try to think of a character. Try to embody what the dance is trying to tell you, what the music is trying to tell you. And you are an instrument, and you are trying to express that to other people. Because I don't know what it is, but when you stop thinking about yourself, you become infinitely powerful. Even on the Instagram things, when I'm doing these videos, obviously I'm not doing it always in one take, sometimes, but I'm usually doing like 2 or 3 times at least. And I choose the video not because of the moves. I choose the video that I post based on sorry, my brain just stopped working. Based on the feeling, the vibe that it gives me. The one that makes me go, woo! That's the one that I will post. That's the one that I will share. Because that's the energy I want to give to people. And anyway, that's a long story short about dancing. But basically, I really encourage you to dance. And the last thing on that note is James Clear always says this. James Clear, he wrote a great book, Atomic Habits. I definitely recommend you check it out if you haven't read it already. But he says in the book that we always think action and emotion, we think that if we feel like it, then we do it. But actually, it's a cycle. Sometimes we have to act and then we feel like it. So just think about your life. Like, for example, every day before you go to work, you don't want to go to work. Not always. Sometimes you do. But when you start going to work, like I always get this, when I'm starting to teach, in the beginning, I'm like, I'm a little bit slow. But as I start teaching, as I see the smiles of my students, and as I get into the material, it gets more and more fun. And you get more energetic. And so that's something that's really important when it comes to things like dance. Oftentimes, you only start wanting to dance after you start dancing. So here's what I'll say. If you haven't danced in a while and you want to dance, just play a song you like and start moving and see what you feel. Maybe do a little warm-up. Maybe just move your body a little bit. And then you might feel something special. The next thing I want to talk about is about Zoom. Zoom burnout and Zoom fatigue in particular. Basically, I don't know if you're feeling like this, I'm getting headaches all the time. Zoom, I think the biggest problem with video conferences is there is a lag, right? Especially when you have people you're talking to with bad internet. It is super annoying when you say something and they can't hear it and you have to repeat yourself, but you don't know which part you need to repeat. Then you see them and they're frozen or whatever, and it's just, your brain is just exploding all the time. And one thing that's really helped me, I'll tell you one thing that's not helped me, and then one thing that's helped me. What's not helped me is that, honestly, after I look at Zoom all day, I'm on my phone all day, looking at Instagram or YouTube or looking at some stupid thing. And I waste a lot of time, and I feel really drained. And then my head hurts even more, but I can't stop the cycle. So one thing that's really helped me is just trying my best to not do things on my phone. One of them that I'm trying now is I go outside, even though it's super cold, minus whatever, minus 10, minus 19 or whatever. I go outside and I imagine that I'm somewhere else. It's kind of like, I don't know if you do this, but when I was a kid, after I watched a movie, I would always pretend I was in the world of the movie. So, for example, if I watched Star Wars, then after the movie, I would be like, bzz, 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 bzz. It's just how I was. Kids have imagination, right? Like, when you're a kid, you always think, don't touch the floor, it's lava. Or when I was a kid, I would always pretend that my bed was, when it's really cold, I would always pretend my bed was a boat in Alaska. Or in the north, near the North Pole. And I would always pretend that if I did not cover myself, then the ice monsters would eat me. And I would be in a frozen death. But if you think about it, when you're a kid, there's infinite ways to be creative. Like when you play football, soccer, you always pretend you're scoring the winning goal of the World Cup, right? You know how it is when you're a kid. You're like, I'm Thierry Henry, like, go! And then you pretend, and then you just imagine everyone celebrating. We can do that now too. And that's what I encourage you. I encourage you, this is what my suggestion is, to fight this fatigue of this monotony, this feeling of being trapped. When you're a kid, you don't have a lot of options. You are trapped because you can't go anywhere unless your parents let you. So what did you do? How did you have fun? And one of the best things that I did was I imagined. I told stories to myself. And that's what I tried to do now. So for example, just now I went to get the pizza and I was walking through the snow and I was imagining I was in Skyrim. I was pretending that I was on a mission to get the pizza and to run home as fast as I could before the ice monsters ate me. That's it. So I encourage you, whether it's at home, whether it's outside, try to imagine. And especially imagine without using the phone. Because when you use the phone, I see this a lot. The more you look at the phone and the more you look at what others do, the easier it is for you to lose your originality. The easier it is for you to just become a copy of somebody else. Because you see someone do something cool and you think, that's cool, I want to be cool too. But then you forget that what makes you cool is you. I don't know if that made any sense. But what I wanted to say is, if you're feeling very burnt out, try to imagine something. And maybe it will change something. So for example, I like to pretend sometimes. You know, like you see all those videos of the people using their washing machines as the airplane windows. But sometimes I really will. I will look out. I'm so grateful I can see the sunset from my window oftentimes. I will play music from Brazil and I'll pretend I'm back in Rio. I'm back on Copacabana. And I'll just pretend. But sometimes that's all you need. The last one I want to talk about today is sleep. This episode got a little bit long and now I'm getting a little bit sleepy. But sleep is super duper important. And I just want to emphasize that. I've been sleeping like a fool. Lately I've been sleeping around like 1:30 or 2. And I wake up, I start work at 8:30. So I got to wake up. And it's just not fun. You know that feeling when you wake up and you already have a headache? And the whole day, is just catch up. You're just playing catch up. And it's not nice. But then the other night, I slept 9 hours. And I felt amazing. And I just want to say, please sleep. It will change your life. What can we do? The first thing is, of course, the phones. It's very easy to get on your phone all the time. Try not to. That's it. The second one is caffeine. I really try my best now not to drink any caffeine after 2 p.m. or try my best, especially no coffee. But even if you think that it doesn't affect you, it probably does. So the sleep one is honestly, I don't know. I just wanted to put this in here because some of us, I don't know if you're like me, but I feel like because of coronavirus, I feel like my life is just slipping away, just draining, right? I mean, we can never take these moments back. This year, maybe next year, maybe the rest of our lives. I don't know. But this is also part of our life. I think I said this before in a previous podcast. Life did not stop because of coronavirus. And this is something that I need to remind myself every day. Because I always think, for some reason, maybe I'm just stupid, I'm not sure. But I always think that this is the break from the real life. Once we have the vaccines, not just vaccines, but once coronavirus is no longer the super threat that it is, we will return to normal. But that's not true. This is normal. This is always normal today. Because what happens if after coronavirus there's another virus or another catastrophe? What if the Earth gets hit by an asteroid? So you are living right now. This is your moment. And because of that, please sleep. Because I found that I often stay up late to not sleep because I feel like I'm wasting my life. And so I'm trying to get control of my life back by staying up. It's kind of weird, but staying up late is kind of like an FU to the universe. And it doesn't do anything. It just makes me tired. So anyway, that's my 2 cents, my spiel. But thank you so much for listening or for watching. I know it's a little bit long, but I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next week. So thank you so much again. Thank you for listening. I appreciate all of you. And that's JJ out.